What's up, guys? Mike Perry, Mastercraft Construction here. I'm at my home in Tampa in my shop, which is a work in progress, but we're gonna build a door today for the pump house at camp. If you've been watching any of my building a camp video series and you watched the one on the pump house, we're gonna go ahead and build the door for that. And I'm gonna build the doors for the shed the exact same way. And I think this is an application you can use building any exterior door, you know, that doesn't have to be absolutely perfect or stained or finished grade. We're gonna use two different kinds of stock. I have 3/4 inch plywood right here, obviously exterior grade, and then I've got T111 siding, which you can buy at Home Depot, and Lowe's, any kind of material supply store, which is actually 1/2 inch stock. So when we're gonna screw these together with a lot of 1 inch screws. I don't wanna use glue because these being outside in Florida in the moisture, I'm just afraid of it expanding, contracting too much. And I can be totally off on that, but I think screws are gonna be just sufficient for this door. It's only 59 by 28. And that'll give us 1.25 inch total stock. And then I've got some cedar here, some 1x cedar. This was from a tree that I actually cut down. The last home we built, we had a cedar tree that was right in the way. Beautiful tree, and we cut it into 8-foot chunks, took it to a local sawmill, and I got a bunch of really cool mantles, which I've been using, and some custom carpentry projects, and then I got a bunch of 1x material, and I had no idea what I was ever gonna use it for, but this is actually gonna be perfect. So it is a little rough in some spots. One might say, hey, that's a cool look, I just keep it rough, it's gonna be outside, and I might, but there's enough good wood here where I might just try to get some 2x. I got a bunch of this stuff, some 2x at least, or some 2.25, 2.5, where we can trim out this door and make it look cool, make it look kind of barn style. And so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna take you through it and show you how we do that. It's a project anybody can do with basic tools. I had the sheets ripped down at Home Depot just because my trailers aren't here in Tampa, and my truck bed, I can't get a 4/8-foot sheet in there. But if you had a track saw or even just a simple circular saw, it's something you could do with a straight edge. But we'll go ahead and I'll show you how I'm going to combine these together, and then we'll go ahead and square them up with the track saw and go ahead and I'll show you how I'm going to rip these 1x's on the table saw and how to get all those nice and uniform. And that's it. Let's do it. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is flip over my T111. And then I'm going to put my 3/4 check for bow on this. Put it on top of here and line it up best I can. These are pretty close to the same size, but we'll trim them up to finished size. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and I think what I'm gonna do here is mark. I'll mark these every 3 inches or so. And I may not put screws every 3 inches, I'll just mark them though. And then I'm going to go ahead and make straight lines on the back here. And you know, you could just go nuts and put screws in randomly everywhere here. I just like to be organized when I'm working and make sure I've got equal amount of pressure and grip. But frankly, I don't think it would make that much of a difference. All right, and then you would just, I could do the same thing here. I could mark, let's say every 3 inches going this way. And then draw my line this way, and you would just do the same thing the whole way down the door. All right, guys, after I have all my lines marked in whatever increments I'm comfortable with. I've got myself some 1-inch exterior screws. Now, I could throw drywall screws in here and hope for the best, but they probably will rust out the Florida elements. After a while, they will rust. So I've got some exterior grade screws here, so if I have enough, or I'll be running back to the store. But I've got my Rockler bit set here, which is awesome. Keep it in the shop. It's got my countersink bits and my self-centering bits when I'm doing cabinetry and things like that. So I always keep that in my workbench here. And I'm simply just gonna, again, I'm gonna hit how many spots I want. I'm gonna just go and put a little countersink in there. I'm gonna go every 6 right now. I have every 3 marked. I'm gonna go every 6, and then I'll fill in. Fill in if I think I need to after that. All right, I'm just gonna drive these in so we attach these 2 pieces together. All right, guys, I've got a million screws in the back of this thing, and I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over. Thing's pretty heavy for that small of a door, so I might have to rethink my shed doors because they're gonna be much bigger than this, but we'll see. So what I'm gonna do is square it up now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my track saw and I'm going to cut an edge, straight edge here, and then on this side, and then from there I'll measure and then cut to my final length and width. And I don't think I'm gonna try to run this thing through the table, so I'm just gonna use the track saw. Again, it's gonna be close enough for a door here. If it's a tiny little bit out of square, no big deal. But if you're good enough with the track saw, it won't be an issue. One thing I wanted to mention is that the rule of thumb is that your door should be roughly a 1/4 of an inch smaller than your opening, and that will give you some room for some weather stripping and things like that. Again, on a pump house, I don't know how much attention I'll pay to that, but again, you don't want big gaping holes in the sides, even if weather stripping or insect management isn't a big deal. It's not heated and cooled. So, but still, we're gonna stick to the rules of carpentry here and make sure that both length and width are 1/4 inch smaller than the opening. All right, let's do it. All right, guys, I got my long edge cleaned up. My long edge cleaned up and my short edge cleaned up, and I'm gonna go ahead and measure off of there. My width is, my opening's 28, so I'm going to go 27 3/4. And my length is 57 3/4. So I'm gonna go 57 1/2. I am gonna have to mark it on both sides and use my track. I don't have a square. That's next, something I really want to get for the shop. I don't have a square to attach to my track, which makes life real easy when you're doing stuff like this. So once I get this done, our door will be the size, our base door, and we'll go ahead and start ripping up the cedar, see if we can find some nice pieces in there. All right, guys, door is cut to final size. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab some paint tomorrow and get this thing painted up. And that way it's ready to go, ready to attach our trim once we get the cedar trim taken care of. So I'll show you how we'll do that, see if we can find some good cedar in there. I think it's gonna look great. All right, guys, I'm bringing in all my cedar over here, and I think 1x4 trim is gonna look good on this door. So I'm hunting for areas where I can get 3.5 inches, because obviously 1x4 is 3.5. It doesn't have to be, but that's become the standard over the years as companies, in my opinion, keep looking to save money. But in any case, I'm looking for 57.25. That's the length, and I'm looking for areas where I get 3.5. Like this one's going to be good here. So what I'll do is I'll lay my tract. I'll get rid of this stuff and lay my tract even at an angle is fine, because that's when I run it over the table saw or along the fence, then it will get me a straight board or parallel sides. If you don't understand that, just be careful using the table saw. If you guys, just getting started doing that, especially this kind of stuff, you don't want to go laying crooked stuff or material that you can't get firmly against the fence. That's why I need to get a straight edge. I don't want to go laying this stuff up against the fence and trying to cut off a square side there, because it won't work. So anyways, I'll show you a video on how I'm doing that, but looks like I'm going to be good here. I just need 57 and I'll have to use those for the sides because that's not going to get me there. But I have longer pieces I'll be able to get. I just need 2 for the long side, 2 for the short, which these will work, and then I'll get 1 diagonal and we'll be good to go. Guys, I pulled down just a piece of old tongue and groove that I had, this thin paneling, but I'm just going to use it as a straight edge. And again, what I'm going to do is just lay it on the other side of any of this rough wood so that I can get, and wherever it ends up being, I'm going to go ahead and cut that off my track so that I have a straight edge. When I say straight, I mean sort of just a flat edge. And then when I run it through the table saw, as long as that edge is the way against the fence the whole time, it's then going to give me a straight parallel cut. All right, so let's give one a whirl and you can see what I'm doing here. All right, so it looks like I'm going to lose not too much of that board down there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's going to get rid of the junk up here, and unfortunately I've got to get rid of that at the bottom there. So we'll go ahead and just mark this. Probably want to use a construction pencil for this, a rough framing pencil, but I suppose this will work. All right, so hopefully you can see my mark along there. And I'm gonna go ahead and clamp this thing down and probably put the track over top of it and then clamp the whole thing. This is the way I'm gonna have to do this. So let's see what we've got here. All right, guys, I got my track along the line that we just made. Got this clamped down really tight with one clamp. Unfortunately, I can't clamp it here because it'll be in the way of the saw. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut about 3/4 of this and then move the clamp to the other side and finish the line. Let's give it a whirl. junk that I cut off of it. I got a nice flat edge. And let's go ahead and run it through the table saw. And again, we're going to set for 3.5 inches. All right, guys, got my table saw. Well, not yet. Going to get my table saw set at 3.5. All right. Again, this is all what I consider rough carpentry. I know some of you woodworking people are going to be critiquing my woodworking skills, but if I was building furniture, or being a lot more precise, maybe using different methods. So I got my table saw set for 3.5. Got my eyes. Let's do it. I've got my 3.5 inch trim now. Man, it smells so good, this cedar. Awesome, cool. All right, same process for all the other boards. Get a bunch of these milled up, get them cut to length. I'm gonna get the door painted. We're gonna go and attach this trim, we're gonna be done. All right, guys, I got my last 2 pieces of trim here. I did end up trimming this, or ripping this trim down to 2.5 inches. When I got the 3 inch up there against this smaller door, I just felt it was too big. So I found the 2.5 to be perfect size. And so I got my last 2 pieces here, the cross pieces. And again, you can make whatever design you want on here. Some people just leave the middle trim without the cross pieces, and that's totally cool. One thing I love about woodworking is it really, it's art. So you do what you think looks good. There are some basic rules of carpentry and things like that, but do what looks pleasing to your eye, not what everybody else thinks looks good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these last 2 pieces of trim on here, and then this door is gonna be done. Again, I'm using 16 gauge finish nails here. Okay guys, we got the finished product here, the finished door. I'm super happy with the way it turned out. I think it turned out killer. I love some of the detail on the cedar. I love the way it works with this deep red. I painted the base of the door because this is going to be the color of the pump house and the barn. It's a crab apple red, Sherwin-Williams exterior satin and emerald. This is going to be the same color as the pump house and the barn up at camp. If you want to watch any of those videos of us building that particular project, they are on the channel. Just a couple other side notes. I hit the cedar with a clear semi-gloss, just an indoor-outdoor spar urethane. You got to seal it with something. Even though the cedar is mostly insect resistant, it's not going to be resistant to moisture like any other kind of wood. So it's important that you do seal that. I didn't want to paint it. Obviously, I wanted the natural wood, so seal it with some sort of clear coat. Even a sanding sealer would be fine. I hit the edge all around the door where we screwed the two stocks together. I hit that seam with a bead of caulking before I painted it, just because edges of wood will always show, or moisture will rear its ugly head there before other parts of the project. So you always want to either seal that with something, either paint or clear gloss if it's stain grade, that sort of thing. Really hope you guys enjoyed the project. Excuse my shop, it's a work in progress. I got a miter station going over here. I did buy the plans for the miter station. I think it's MW Woodworks. So maybe I'll do a little video on that, I'm not sure. But in any case, hope you guys really enjoyed the project. And let me know if there's any questions you have about it, or anything that maybe you think I could have done better. And that's it. We're Mastercraft Construction. We're custom home builders here in the Tampa area. If we can help you with anything, custom carpentry projects, custom homes,